a message from our president, Donald J. Trump. Based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, and unidentified flying objects, UFOs, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America. I mean, it's going to be a short announcement, right? How much could they possibly have? I seriously, do you guys think there's anything in these files that they're going to release except for, fooled you. Well, apparently Casey has some ideas. Welcome to the Mosaic Ark. So seriously, this is going to be a short stream, right? There's no evidence. Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
This was your idea.
Yeah.
We're sort of casting about for topics yesterday, and I'm going, I just have no idea. And Casey says, aliens. And I'm like, there aren't any. We're done. Aliens. Just like, what is going on?
Tariffs? What tariffs? Iran? What's that?
Yeah. I mean, so the tariffs, like the Supreme Court just declared the tariffs nonsensical, and then we set 10% on everybody. So I don't know, right? Iran. I mean, we could talk. As far as I know. Well, I know more about the potentiality of what's going on in Iran because I've been to the Persian Gulf recently, right? At least I'm sure there's a place here.
Yes.
Well, there's Bahrain, right? We're fairly sure Iran exists. Okay. Why are we talking about aliens?
Why does anybody always talk about them? Because like they're endlessly fascinating because there's no proof of it. It's a bit like talking about fairies or elves.
I think there's more proof of fairies and elves than there is of aliens. I mean, okay. I won't go there. But what I've been saying today, in preparing for this stream earlier today, right? I was saying I just things I don't get, right? Why do all the stories about aliens, which, is like if we need to release evidence, right? Why are the aliens so stealthy? Right? Why are they so super stealthy in all of these stories? Because I don't know, if I were an alien from another planet who had, mastered interstellar, interplanetary, intergalactic travel, I wouldn't hide it. Right? It's like,
well, I mean, they're not very good at hiding it either because we've been talking about it for apparently hundreds of years.
Has it really been that long? This is the other thing that it seems to me to be like weirdly coincidental is all of these stories about aliens seem to match exactly what our tech is. I mean, it's just a little bit better than our tech, not like
Just a little bit better. Yeah.
Seriously, our tech is not just a little bit better if you're imagining these aliens show up from, I don't know, places we can't even see with our telescopes. It's dumb. It's just
That
dumb.
you know
I want to
of.
trigger the entire internet. No, I refuse to believe there's any evidence whatsoever of these stupid aliens, right? And if they are here and they've been here for millennia, old news, right? Like, how on earth is anything going to be suddenly different because we're in AD 2026 instead of AD 2040, 1943 or 1878, or I'm picking numbers out of the hat, right? It's like,
Yeah.
why, if they've been around guiding human evolution, who the hell knows? Nothing's going to be any different. Like, they've been taking care of us all this time. Why are they? Oh, they're going to suddenly do a Noah on us, and like, guess what, guys? You're doomed. Start building that ark.
Yeah. I am less interested in speculating on what aliens would mean. Well, frankly, I think if they exist, it's irrelevant and it wouldn't change anything. Then I am that the stories keep getting pushed at certain time periods, and usually right around the time somebody's looking for funding for a new project having to do with space.
What a coincidence.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
I think that seems like a conspiracy theory to me. I think we need some proof. I think you need to walk us through this outlandish claim.
This outlandish theory of mine.
This completely outlandish theory of yours. Author us of the forthcoming collection of how we've been practicing our marketing skills, and you had dark fantasy.
Dark fantasy.
KJ Crilly, author of Dark Fantasy with Christian undertones, apparently.
Yes, we're trying to figure that out. How it gets categorized.
Guys, there's going to be a collection of Casey, aka Kimberly Curley's poetry out there soon for you to enjoy in printed form. It's gonna be beautiful. Anyway, so having proven yourself a skilled mistress of
a skilled writer of fiction,
a skilled magistra of tales of the chilling supernatural. Carry on. We have some pictures here.
Yes.
Let's start with the angels. Okay.
Angels? What angel? I don't see an angel. I see a spacecraft.
I see. Okay, I see an eye. Did you see the marvelous Budweiser ad with the horse and the eagle? Maybe it's just an eagle sitting on. Oh, it's really good. Because it's,
is it?
Yeah, it's out there. And apparently the eagle's name is Lincoln. I forget what the horse's name is. And there's this wonderful, spoiler alert for everybody who didn't watch the Super Bowl and see this ad. There's this wonderful scene where it's a Clydesdale and the horse does a jump, and you've been seeing it running, and you've been seeing the animals growing up together and stuff. And then it does this wonderful jump, and it's as it jumps, the eagle that's sitting on its back spreads its wings. You know how big eagle wings are? They're huge.
They're very big. Yes.
Compared to a horse, they make it look like the horse's wings. That's what I see here in this amazing spaceship wing thing that you have. Okay.
Yeah. So obviously this is from Ezekiel 1, and it's a description of what the prophet saw. He had a vision of an angel, and he saw wheels within wheels that were covered in eyes. And he saw four figures around them. One had four faces. It's a very psychedelic kind of vision that he had. And so this particular picture is from Biblically Accurate Angels. And
I love biblically accurate angels. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, this one was a pretty good one too, because it did a pretty good job of interpreting what was described, including the light shining from behind it, right? And it was carrying these creatures. He said, and they moved in incredible ways that, like, all different directions, like multi-directional. Now that prompts a memory of mine of supposedly another UFO sighting. Of some pilots have described seeing these ships that could move multi-directional very quickly, like lightning fast.
Right.
And so it kind of is a bit what was described in Ezekiel here.
Shall we read it so that people know that what we're talking about
yes.
is very much there? Okay, so The word of the Lord came to Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans, by the river Shobar, and the hand of the Lord was there upon him. And I saw, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, and a great cloud, and a fire enfolding it, and brightness was about it. And out of the midst thereof, that is, out of the midst of the fire, as it were, the resemblance of amber. And in the midst thereof, the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. There was a likeness of a man in them. Every one had 4 faces, and every one had 4 wings. Their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their foot was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the appearance of glowing brass. And they had the hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides, and they had faces and wings on the 4 sides. And the wings of one were joined to the wings of another. They turned not when they went, but every one went straight forward. And as for the likeness of their faces, there was the face of a man, and the face of a lion on the right side of all the 4, and the face of an ox on the left side of all the 4, and the face of an eagle over all the 4. And their faces and their wings were stretched upward. 2 wings of every one were joined, and 2 covered their bodies. And every one of them went straight forward, whither the impulse of the Spirit was to go. Thither they went, and they turned not when they went. And as for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like that of burning coals of fire, and like the appearance of lamps. This was the vision running to and fro in the midst of the living creatures, a bright fire and lightning going forth from the fire. And the living creatures ran and returned like flashes of lightning. Now as I beheld the living creatures, there appeared upon the earth by the living creatures 1 wheel with 4 faces. And the appearance of the wheels and the work of them was like the appearance of the sea, and the 4 had all one likeness. And their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the midst of the wheel. This is the long vision. He was really tripping
It
long.
is. Yes, he was.
I'm going to keep going. There's okay.
Go ahead.
We're about halfway through. When they went by their 4 parts, and they turned not when they went. The wheels had also a size and a height and a dreadful appearance, and the whole body was full of eyes round about all the 4. And when the living creatures went, the wheels also went together by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels also were lifted up with them. Whithersoever the Spirit went, thither as the Spirit went, the wheels also were lifted up withal, and followed it, for the Spirit of life was in the wheels. When those went, these went, and when those stood, these stood, and when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels also were lifted up together, and followed them, for the Spirit of life was in the wheels. And over the heads of the living creatures was the likeness of the firmament, and the appearance of a crystal terrible to behold, and stretched out over their heads above. And under the firmament were their wings straight, the one toward the other. Every one with 2 wings covered his body, and the other was covered in like manner. And I heard the noise of their wings like the noise of many waters, as it were the voice of the Most High God. When they walked, it was like the voice of a multitude, like the noise of an army. And when they stood, their wings were let down. For when a voice came from above the firmament, that was over their heads, and they stood and let down their wings. And above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of the sapphire stone, and upon the likeness of the throne was a likeness as of the appearance of a man above upon it. And I saw, as it were, the resemblance of amber, as the appearance of fire within it round about, from his loins and upward, and from his loins downward. I saw, as it were, the resemblance of fire shining round about, as the appearance of the rainbow when it is in a cloud on a rainy day. This was the appearance of the brightness round about it.
Lots of colors, lots of noise. And if I may play devil's advocate here, an ancient person who had never heard a very strong engine before would describe it thus. It sounded like the ocean. It sounded like many, 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 many voices of just unbearably loud and unbearably bright.
And carrying a figure of a man in it.
Well, a projection.
On a sapphire throne.
Yeah.
So what's your point? What?
I'm saying I can easily see how this inflamed people's imaginations over the years about these incredible flying machines in the air. And if you go to the next image.
Well, but
this
wait,
is
no,
interesting.
wait. So are you saying, so Ezekiel sees this image? Does Ezekiel actually see a spaceship?
No, I don't think so. I think he sees an angel. But future people said, "Oh, that's a spaceship." That's been a. I'm sorry, I might be jumping ahead a little bit there.
I'm trying to slow you down because we need you to unpack all of this. You just say it's angels, and everyone goes, But isn't it a spaceship? I mean, maybe this is one of the things I've said. It's like, look, maybe they've been around
Yeah.
all along. That's
Well,
the
that's
internet loves saying that, right? It's like
they do
it's
love saying
right.
that. And this there was there is still is she's still alive. She's very old. An actress named Shirley MacLaine,
Mm.
about 40 years ago was well, she's for longer than that. She's been into kind of new agey stuff, and she wrote a book and. She went on a book speaking tour and she talked about Ezekiel and she grew up in West Virginia,
Okay.
you know, very Bible Belt
Right.
place. And she said, I'm sure that Ezekiel saw a spaceship. She was pretty sure of it. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think I'm remembering that right. It was 40 years ago, but she wasn't the only one to speculate about this. I've heard lots of people over the years saying, "Oh yeah, Ezekiel's angel. The wheels within wheels. It was a spaceship, right? Because it sounds like it." And for the reasons I just said when playing devil's advocate, yeah, a primitive person sees a giant ship with noise and lights and thinks it's an angel, right? Because they've never seen anything like it before. They can't comprehend it. They can't understand it, and so they're applying what they know of their. I'm going to use an anthropological term now about their mythologies to it. This is what somebody who doesn't believe it's an angel might say. Very easily, I could see them saying that very easily because I grew up in the latter half of the 20th century. So that kind of talk was all over the place.
So the thing is, I can perfectly. I think what you're saying is one of the immediate sources of stories about these aliens and UFOs and such is, I mean, certainly for the culture that was Bible reading, which the United States was till fairly recently.
It was, and yet Shirley MacLaine grew up in that atmosphere. Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
And so this passage, I've written a fair amount about this passage because so in ancient and medieval terms, these are throne revelations, and what
Mm,
you see at the end of the Ezekiel image is Christ enthroned, right? It's the Messiah, it's the Lord,
yes.
it's the God enthroned on this chariot. It's the wheels and everything. It's a chariot throne,
Yeah.
and that was my friend Margaret Barker has written about this a lot. About these, it's called Merkava mysticism as well, because medieval Judaism carries a lot of this imagery with it because it's in
Mm,
Ezekiel, right? And you're seeing images of the Lord enthroned, but he's enthroned on this like wild chariot beast thing, right? That
yes.
has all of these the flashing the wheels with their flashing eyes and stuff like that. It's like the wheels turning in the sunlight with all of their flashing brass
Right. And
studs and
the multi-directional, it means
right.
omnipresent, right? So that's a pretty cool image there.
It's well, so Margaret talks about how a lot of I mean, the Hebrew is always a little tricky because you're having to infer what the vowels are, and
Mhm.
there is a tendency in post-Christian, post-Christ Judea readings to minimize the kinds of things that the Christians were keen on. So there's a lot of ways in which you can like repoint the text and say what kind of image actually was this. But the thing is, if we actually believe that Ezekiel saw this, why can't we say that what we think of as angels are in fact UFOs already? Right? We just start there.
Unidentified flying object?
Well,
Well, angels don't have bodies, but
but I mean, but which way are we going to go? It's saying that people like Shirley MacLaine grew up reading this image of Ezekiel,
yeah, and
and
and I want to make a point. There's absolutely no reason for her to have ever seen images like you just described from the medieval texts, right? If this is Christ on the throne, and it looks like this big light portal in the air. She wouldn't have seen anything like that. Those wouldn't have been images, unless straight out of Ezekiel itself, that she would have seen.
well, if she went to Europe, she could because they're all over the churches. They're it's like you see them as
Mm,
the angels carrying the throne in all of the images. So it's like anytime you see Christ enthroned on the flaming angels, that's
mm,
this iconography. It's the same. So the image of the man in the throne. But the thing is, I have trouble with this because you can flip it back over and say, well, okay, it looks like every captain on his starship
Yeah.
whatever, what do you
And
call
then
that, deck,
the captain's
bridge,
chair.
on the bridge, right? There's
Yeah.
the thing, and that's it. That ancient ruler throne imagery is all these seated guys, right? Pharaohs,
Lincoln.
Lincoln, right?
Yeah.
Zeus, right? El,
Yes.
as we talked about, that's in the little statues
Hmm.
in the Oriental Institute, Isaac. So, but maybe you see the devil's advocate I'm playing here is maybe we've been encountering these all along, and Ezekiel saw a spaceship for real.
No,
You didn't
except
expect me to turn into a believer, did you?
I know you're not.
Well, I mean, some part of me has
Yeah.
to believe that Ezekiel saw something real. So why not? Maybe what we call angels are in fact UFOs.
Well, maybe they're UFOs, but the vision was specific to him and nobody else saw it, right? Have I got that right?
Check the text. Well, and then I mean, then he's just tripping off of whatever like drug he'd taken. He was okay. So he's in the midst of the captives. He's been captured. So one of the things Barker argues is that what he's seen here is in fact the enthronement image that would have been in the temple, and he and the people have been taken from Jerusalem, and what he's seen is the chariot throne that was kept in the Holy of Holies, and the glory that appeared on the throne. So he's by the river Chobar. The heavens were open, and I saw the visions of God. In the 5th day of the month, the same was the 5th year of the captivity of King Joachim. The word of the Lord. So he's by the river, and he's been captured, and now he's
Oh, they're in
seen.
Babylon when he's writing this.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes, they've been carried away to Babylon.
Okay.
So it's like a trauma memory of what the Holy of Holies had looked like. But the thing is, the Holy of Holies, it's like a giant cube in the temple. It can turn into a spaceship in your imagination pretty quickly. gilded, you know, fancy spaceshipy things, and all of our stories of heaven, and the heavens open, and the the machines.
Except the Holy of Holies wasn't flying.
Well, it is in Revelation. You want to go there? Because it comes down from heaven, right? The New Jerusalem,
right? But if he's just remembering the temple,
right,
that was destroyed, he's not going to remember it flying. He's having a vision where God's giving him a vision of what they have created in the temple, what God instructed them to create, because it was a way for them to see a little piece of heaven.
Right. But you do see, I can keep going on this and saying they saw what we would now call UFOs.
Oh, yeah.
and which supports my theories. They've been around all along. So what do we have to worry about? I'll go on to the next picture.
Yeah,
you said this. Oh yes, this one, the wheel, okay. And go ahead.
So the only thing I was going to say was I asked Grok AI, Imagine AI, to give me Ezekiel's wheel minus all of the extra images of the flames and the clouds and the creatures. And when it did that, it looks like a spaceship to me, or a shield, but it could be a spaceship. It's a wheel within a wheel because it's floating out there in space. And I thought that was kind of interesting, because the people who are insisting that these visitors have been coming to us for centuries and for millennia, and look, here's an example in Ezekiel. What they've done is they've stripped the God out of the image of Ezekiel, and they've created
the flying saucer.
This. They've created they've created the flying saucer. So that's that part of speculative fiction. It doesn't have to be godless. C.S. Lewis wrote speculative fiction that had God in it, from what I understand. But the theories that people are proposing, they try to eliminate God, so they're just talking about the tech, which is why they change their unidentified flying object to unidentified. What's the UAP? What does that stand for? I don't even know.
Well, that's because everybody's laughing at UFOs, so they're trying to make it sound like it's
right,
unidentified aerial
Hollywood.
phenomena. So they're WAPs.
Aerial phenomena. So they paid somebody in government to come up with this. This is so dumb. Anyway, if you remove God, you're left with just the tech.
Fair, fair.
So that's just a point I wanted to make when I stuck this in here because it's important
Okie
later
dokie.
in the
Okay,
other
so now that
slides.
I've raked you over the Ezekielian coals with the problem, right? And this I do I'm 99% serious about this. I'm not sure. It's like I the thing is all of this image, I'll go back to the angel first. Just everybody should know
Mhm.
this Ezekiel image until, I don't know, yesterday was everybody knew it, right? It's like it's one of the most like resonant descriptions of what God in heaven looks like, and all of the medieval art, iconography of Christ in majesty, surrounded by the four living creatures with their four faces, which are then identified with the evangelist. This is in some ways one of the most common images we have out in the iconography, but if you read the actual Ezekiel, it's like it turns into this sci-fi problem. So
Yeah.
the sort of wherever we are, the image has been with us all along. And I like what you're going. Now I'm getting a glimpse of where you're going. That something has changed in the way in which people are understanding the potentiality of this vision.
Well, people are using it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely using other people's interpretations and desires, their desire to strip God from it and have it be just tech.
Okay. So here we go.
Right?
Now we have some coins.
This was really cool. I didn't even know these existed, but um, apparently they're used as evidence that look, there's flying saucers on these coins from the 17th century.
Okay. I
Yeah,
hadn't
these
heard
are
that
called
before.
yeah, these are apparently it's a thing. These are called jetons, and they're tokens that were made during the Sun King's reign, Louis the 14th. So 1656. They might be what you call just like a challenge coin today. They're given away as like souvenirs. They start when they first started making them in the 17th century. They had something to do with engineering and measuring or something. I don't know what. I'm sorry, I didn't study that much of it. Maybe Hans can help us with that. But people liked them, so the king started just giving them out
Hmm.
as tokens. And this was one that was done, and it looks like Ezekiel's wheel. Also, kind of looks like a flying saucer. Kind of looks like the flying saucer that Grok created.
Hmm.
Um, right? It's a
Did
yeah.
did you find? I mean, did they say what these are supposed to be when you found them?
They said it was supposed to. They speculate it was like the shield of God, right? So God shielding the world, but I find that a little unsatisfying of an answer. But they weren't minted for very long. It was just kind of a trend in the 17th
Hmm.
century that died out, I think, fairly quickly. Um, but they're still around, and you can buy them at auction. They're a pretty cool collectible.
So one of them says 1656,
Hmm.
and two of them, which look like they're two copies of the same design, they have look like arrows or something going up to
It does look like that, does it? Which
the
makes it
shield.
which makes sense. It's the shield of God, right? Yeah.
Opportunus adest. Like they're luck coins.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like a challenge coin, like what they
Yeah.
call today, right?
Yes, well, my Marine friend explained those to me. You have to carry it around yours all the time, and if someone challenges you, are you carrying your coin and you don't have it, you have to buy the drinks. So there
That's
you
fun.
go. That's
There's
what.
the challenge.
Yes, I think we should have made some challenge coin. We can make some challenge coins for Draco Alchemicus.
We
We've
should have
got
made
we've
chips
we
actually for the
we've
first tracked one.
I know, I know. I was looking at all of the kinds of things. So anyway, but that are you seeing people out there saying these are proof of these flying saucers? Is that the
No, it's apparently, and I did use Grok as my research assistant. There's just
you
talk
talk
on
to the
places
robots?
like Reddit, where people love like talking about conspiracy theories, and
Mm.
apparently this is proof they've been, their angels have been around, not angels, but did it again. The UFOs have been around for a very long time. Look, they're on these coins, and occasionally I didn't pull any of these up, but I've also seen I think supposedly Aboriginal paintings or African paintings that show like spacemen. It's like maybe they're just really really bad at drawing anatomy.
Could be. I still think you're gonna have trouble with that Ezekiel. That it's what Ezekiel actually saw was the spaceship. But we'll carry on. Okay, so
Okay.
Project Mars. Oh, I like this. A technical tale
This is
by
very
this.
fun.
Though this is a famous sci-fi author, right?
No, Dr. Werner von Braun wrote this. He created he helped create NASA. So we after the war, I guess our country said, "Come over here." Well, I'll think of it. No, I don't think you understand. You're coming over here.
We
We need you to build our
he
rockets.
invented the V rockets, right?
Yeah,
Which
yeah, he did.
I mainly only know because I read Thomas Pynchon's Gravity's Rainbow. Me and the three other people that read that book. Another of the famous long books that people claim to know about and have not read, but we read it in the
Yeah.
postmodern literature class I took in college.
Oh, that's fun.
But
That's
this
unique.
the thing is this it looks like a sci-fi novel.
It is a sci-fi novel.
Oh,
So
it is actually a novel. Okay.
Yes, it is a novel. So
Okay.
here's how this happened. It's using old-fashioned, mid-20th century artwork on the cover, but it was in fact published in 2006, years after von Braun died.
Ah.
But he did write this in 1949. He had intended to publish it as like young adult fiction, and with the idea being getting young people interested in rocket science. And it didn't get published. So it didn't get published until 2006. Now, what's interesting about this kind of this came up again. So in the last 18, 20, I guess 20 years now, right? It's 2026. That one of the characters in it, it's about Mars has been colonized and they have their own government. And when their parliamentarian system elects its leader, that leader has a title. It's not president, it's not prime minister, it's Elon. So president of Mars.
So it's every
Elon.
ELON.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everybody's
So
using this is like the Little Bear and Trump
Yes.
Ingersoll Lockwood story. It's like, look, it's predicted.
Right. And so obviously Elon was born years after he wrote this. And Musk's father is still alive and claims, oh, yes, I knew about that, but I have my doubts. His mother, May, has a different story about how they got the name Elon. But yes, it was called the Elon in this. So conspiracies were
Okay,
born
so
in
I'm
2006.
not sure that you're disproving your story here yet. I mean, we've got chariot angels, we've got challenge coins from the 17th century, we've got predictive fiction. You're gonna have to do better than this. If you're gonna convince here, and here we have the Mars Project, which is also von Braun.
Von Braun. This is a real technical book, and it was published in 1952, and it was made into an English translation in the United States in 1952. And I think that what's his short story appendix to that? I can't remember. I'm sorry. I don't have a copy of either one of those books. But yeah, this was the real deal of he's really trying to get people interested in this idea of we don't have to go just to the moon. We can go to Mars. So he was very fascinated with that, probably because I'm going to guess, not having read his ideas, that it's because it was the closest planet, right? That's still the reason they want to go. It's the closest planet. They want to learn how to do it. So that's what this book was about, the Mars Project. It was about technically how would you do it.
Are we going to find aliens on Mars?
Don't know. Maybe we've already been there and they're just trying to get us used to the idea.
That's the way the internet thinks, right? It's like it's all
maybe the $32 trillion didn't go to Somalia. Maybe it went to Mars.
Everything's all already happened, and they're just so. But this, okay,
Yeah.
so this one, what you're showing here is this idea of going to Mars has been around at least 100 years, right?
Yes. Yeah, and in fiction, I think and again, I bet Hans knows this. In fiction, I think it goes back even further than his attempt at writing young adult fiction in 1949.
Well, okay, so the first thing that popped into my head, not Mars, but going to the moon, is in Ariosto's Orlando Furioso, which means crazy or Roland, right? Roland gone nuts, and he's lost his
Mm.
wits and he has to go to the moon to get them back or something. We tried. This is a
Lunacy.
Renaissance
Yeah.
poem, right? So this is several hundred years old, and we tried reading it some because it's written in the right, well, but it would be in Italian. So it's been translated into the right meter that
Mm.
we were like a tova rima that we were trying to learn.
Yes.
We got lost because the poem was so confused. It's like I don't think we launched at all. But
Well,
yeah, so I mean these stories like
yeah.
going to the story of, traveling to the moon has been a staple of fantasy,
Hmm.
romantic fantasy since the Middle Ages.
Sure. Why not?
Well, indeed, why not? But um I guess this was so what the question is here. Why do we take it seriously now,
Why do we take Mars seriously now,
or the moon?
or the moon? Because the technology caught up. I mean, rocket science has been around for a couple of centuries, right? Um, it's been getting better and better over the centuries. That's basically this is what fireworks are. Uh,
Yeah, the Chinese invented those a very long time ago.
yes, they did.
I
Right.
think I can't remember who was saying this. Someone Chinese maybe, but they're saying like the Chinese invent things that are make beautiful patterns, and the West uses it to make weapons. So the Chinese have all their drones making all these little designs and stuff like that in the sky, and the first thing the West wants to do is make rockets to blow things up.
We bought our son when he was really young a drone, a little tiny one, about that big, just so he could fly it around. It's basically like a remote controlled airplane,
Hmm.
and we had to register it like a gun,
That's
which is
because
kind
that's
of
the first
strange.
thing that anybody in the West thinks of. We're so martial. Clearly,
It's
we've been meditating on getting to Mars for a very long time.
it was the size of a large like dragonfly, and it had to be registered. I'm like, that was just the weirdest thing. I don't know why. And this was well over 10 years ago, but
See, now I think we do
anyway.
need to investigate why the West's ideas all end up. So the conspiracy theory about this Trump post is, of course, he's being manipulated by the Pentagon deep state to
I don't think that's what's
distract us
happening.
all from their whatever shenanigans they're up to, and I don't carrying on. Here we have Red
Okay.
Planet Mars, the world torn asunder by a threat from outer space. So we first had Werner von Braun saying we should go there, and now it's
Yep.
going to like recoil on us.
1952. That book is published. 1952. The Red Planet comes out. It's a B movie, and I thought, it looks like Red Planet Mars, the world torn asunder by a threat from outer space. Now, if you go take a film history class, they'll say, yeah, it was the Red Scare, and these science fiction movies were all about the Red Scare.
Mm.
But in fact, the government's budget for research and development tripled in the mid 1950s.
Okay.
It wasn't just the Red
You
Scare,
do
so
have a
it
conspiracy theory here.
made me think, why would you make a movie like this? Who funded this movie? So I look it up. The name's irrelevant because nobody knows who it is. It was two guys who had never made a movie before, decided we're going to make a movie, and then never made another movie again, and they funded it themselves. Really? So this is the same time people started reporting UFOs everywhere. So what was happening was you got a lot of money going to R&D for developing spacecraft and aircraft, and particularly the U-2, which was the highest flying plane to date. It was 66,000 feet. So you're just skirting the edge of the atmosphere there, and that was the spy plane. They had to test these things. It wasn't like nuclear. You couldn't just test it in the middle of the ocean. You couldn't test it underground. It had to fly. People were going to see it. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to tell them it's UFOs, and you're going to produce a bunch of movies, and you're going to come out and scare people and say, oh, yes, there's definitely UFOs out there. And gosh, our government needs to keep us safe, and we need to start developing rocket technology.
I think we're done here. No way. Really? This was it?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what
why
I
isn't
think.
this more general knowledge?
Why isn't what more general
What you
knowledge?
just said, it's so straightforward. It's like it was what I was saying at the beginning. It's like why is it all these UFOs things seem to like match our tech so closely? Like we suddenly have
Well, it was
stories of all of
obvious.
these UFOs showing up exactly when we have planes. It's like
Yeah, exactly when the
how is
planes
there
come,
even
right?
a whisper of a question of a doubt that this is propaganda about our own military?
Well, people want alien life on other planets to be true. I don't know why. I think it would be kind of interesting, but irrelevant to my life and my beliefs. But people really want that to be true.
Okay, let's
I'd have to
pause
ask
it.
those
So
people.
Sarah is saying the War of the Worlds and Out of the Silent Planet were published before the UFO scare. This is
Yeah,
true.
well, this is true. Yeah, yeah. H.G. Wells, and he's coming up. I've got him too.
Okay.
Uh, right, but the movies, they came out in living color on big theaters. That
Hmm.
was a much more effective propaganda machine than the novels were. The novels were popular, but the movies were really popular
Right.
when they started coming out. So there is a difference there. But
Well, and
yeah,
Out of the Silent Planet, Lewis' story, it's like they go to Mars, and there's that goes. So you're looking at with the UFOs, you're looking at scares about the aliens coming to Earth,
yeah,
which is
yes,
different from the Out of the Silent Planet is going to Mars and meeting the creatures there, and this is the fairy tale version of things where you have conversation with other beings
yeah.
in Tolkien's terms, and why
Hmm.
that's appealing. Yeah, okay. Well, okay, let's stick with the UFOs coming here
Hmm.
argument. All right, so we have this movie comes out in 52,
52. Yeah,
52.
same as von Braun's book about the Mars Project.
Okay, so you have promotional work going on trying to say we should be doing these things. Scare movies coming out
Saying we shouldn't do these things. Which
or
sounds
saying we have to
yeah.
do these things because if we don't do these things the aliens will, come and
We need to fight the Martians there instead of here. We need to fight them there
I mean, it's so
before
dumb.
we have to
It's
fight them here.
just so bloody dumb. Okay, here we go. War of the Worlds, which was
And there
earlier, right?
it
That
is.
was 1938.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, yeah, I don't.
No, no, no. Different War of the Worlds. That was you're thinking.
The,
So the movie H.G. Wells,
oh, I'm thinking of the radio
1953.
thing that was
You're thinking
priming everybody
Orson
to.
Welles.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but it might have been based off the same book. I bet Sarah would know that. Yeah.
This is H.G. Wells with the War of the Worlds, and that is what Orson Welles
Yes.
read. Yeah.
Then yeah, it's the same thing. So he did the radio program, and then it was made into a 1953 movie. So War of the Worlds again. The film history classes will tell you it's about the Red Scare, right?
Mm-hmm.
But really, any kind of scaring gets people to pay money for security.
Right.
And again, tripled the budget in just a few years. I think by 1960 it had been like $1 billion, which is insane for the
Wow.
1950s. Um, but yeah, these movies were coming out, and the senators and the congressmen were appropriating money for the research and development of aircraft, spycraft, and also the space program. And 1952's The Mars Project probably had at least a small part to play in that, and getting people interested in that. And also, obviously, the Russians were doing it, and there was a real space race. That was real
Yeah, because it was a race, right? It's like, oh, they're doing it. Oh,
because it
they're
was
doing it.
space.
Oh, they're doing it. Oh, they're doing it.
They were each trying to prove their system was better.
Right.
So whoever did it first was better. And so there was the race. There's a similar thing going on now between Russia, the United States, and China
Hmm.
over getting a base on the moon.
So it's interesting thinking about it from this distance and saying why. I mean, why not just say we need money because we want to have the most badass weapons? Like, why do you need to have it coming from Mars?
Why do you need to have what
The
coming
the
from
threat,
threat?
the threat. Yeah.
The th- Coming from Mars. Well, try to disprove it. You can't see it with the naked eye.
Fair point. Or if you just say, I'm not sure that the Chinese with their drone displays are actually set on world domination. Oh, you don't know. They're, the UFOs are going to show up and take over. We can't be caught unprepared. Yeah. Okay. So you can't disprove it, which is fair. Because it's not
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah.
Total fantasies are completely
I
impossible to
mean,
disprove.
you can see the moon with the naked eye. You can see its details. You can see its craters
Mhm.
and I mean, Mars is a tiny little red dot that you see sometimes. It's very far away and therefore more mysterious than the moon.
I just don't. Okay, why would we keep falling for this? Seriously. And two, I don't.
Bring up the sheep video. Sorry.
I don't.
Yeah. And he jumps in the pit. Farmer
Oh,
drags him out.
yes,
He
yes.
jumps right
The
back
sheep
in.
is like
Yeah.
me, God watching me. Ploink,
Yep.
pull him out. Ploink. Yeah. Okay. So fine.
Immediately.
Right. I now forgot what I was going to say. It's like
Sorry.
indeed. No. The why would anybody believe it? Why do we still believe it? Right. It's the
Why do we believe there's a threat?
yeah. How can you actually honestly think that there's aliens coming around right now? Like, okay, this goes back to my, like, if they're so super sneaky, we don't have anything to worry about. Because if they were gonna blow us up, they'd just do it, right? It's like, why would
Right.
they?
So
Why would they wait? Why are they gonna sneak around? It makes
why do people fall
no
for it?
sense.
Right. Well, that's where propaganda comes in, right? And the propaganda goes along with the fact that it was a very violent world in the mid 20th century with a lot of war.
Because we
Two
keep
two big
starting.
wars. Well, two big wars in a row, and then a bunch of little ones, right? So
Those are
people
yeah.
understood.
The British kept starting those,
Well, right.
or
So
somebody did anyway.
people understood that there were threats, right? This is why it's really easy to say, oh, it's about the Red Scare.
Mhm.
Well, saying the Red Scare was a good way to scare people into letting the government do what they wanted to do. I mean, it's not like the Soviets weren't taking over country after country. They were doing that.
Hungary, yeah.
So to say to somebody, oh, and it's coming from space next, how would you know? Like you're paranoid. You've lived through this for 25 years now in 1952. Why wouldn't you believe it?
Fair, fair. So Sarah's saying, I hope all this pays off if they can protect us from asteroids, which is more concerning than ETs.
I thought about including those movies too in the
Mm.
90s. There were two of them.
Yes.
But I thought it's getting too complicated. But yeah, that's another thing where we need money to protect us from asteroids. Hollywood, this is
Yeah.
Washington calling. Give us a couple of movies, and you get Armageddon.
hmm
And what was the other one? I forget. There were two of them.
Armageddon's the Bruce Willis one, right?
Yeah, Armageddon's the Bruce Willis one, and there was one with Taylor Leone was another one. I forget. Deep Impact. There we go.
Mm.
It's called Deep
Oh, I
Impact.
didn't see that one. Okay.
Yeah, you're not missing anything anyway. I mean, they
It
were
does.
both
It
pretty
does make for
ridiculous.
good drama, right?
Yeah.
These space. I mean, it's because they are. Okay, we're gonna keep going because there's one that they are. We're kind of out of places to have adventures that nobody's ever seen. So having to imagine
Yeah.
it in space makes some sense. All right, so there we are on the moon because the flag's
So
there.
yeah, this is. I didn't know this when I looked this up. I just wanted a picture of the very last lunar landing.
Mm.
It was in 1972 on my birthday.
Really?
Yes, it
Well,
was on my fifth
I'm sure
birthday.
that's astrologically significant.
Yeah, and that was kind of a surprise. But yep, the day I turned 5 was the last time our country landed on the moon. Now this is interesting because now in the 1970s, you're entering a new phase. So if you think of the parallel between what Hollywood was putting out and what they were asking money for,
Mm.
okay, jump ahead 25 years, sorry, 50, 20 years, 1972, the last time we're on the moon. Okay, nobody's excited about it anymore. If you watch the movie Apollo 13, which is a very good movie, they talk about how towards the end, like nobody's getting excited anymore about astronauts because they just heard about them all the time.
Right.
So people were kind of done with that because it wasn't new anymore. And so that's 1972. So, but in a very
1972. Okay.
Yep. In the
That's
very
a good point because I did a paper in 1977 on the manned space exploration because we'd just been to the Air and Space Museum that opened in
oh,
1976, and so
that's a great place.
frozen ice, the freeze dried ice cream. We remember that.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I remember that.
well, my brother says we went and he looked at that lunar module and he's like 9 at the time and he's just going, there's no way that thing worked on the moon. It's not only people losing interest in it, 9-year-olds don't believe it happened.
I'd rather be an elf denier than a moon landing denier, but go on.
I do remember what the other thing I was thinking of is, so considering the stories that you're describing in the 50s, Trump was alive during all of this. Right?
Mhm.
You remember being 5 in 1972. How old was he in 1952? When was he born?
Uh, so he's my mother's age. So 19, sorry. So he was born, he must have been born in 1946. So he would have been
He would have been about
6,
5 or 6
5 or 6.
when
Yeah.
those Mars movies came out. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we've now anchored you and Trump in time in terms of
Right.
what
Yeah.
what imaginary expositions were going on. I see you still believe that they went to the moon.
Yes, there is. I've seen the proof. Yeah. And I didn't happen to have your 9-year-old brother's reaction to it. So
What proof? We saw the models of the
well,
lunar modules in the
pretty
museum.
soon you'll be able to travel there yourself. And I'll get to that.
Okay. All right. So you're saying our layers of skepticism are flipping back and forth. All right. So The Spaceships of Ezekiel by Joseph L. Bloomrich.
Okay, this is a 1974 book that was written by a NASA engineer. I guess he used to be a NASA engineer. I just thought it was kind of funny. Was Earth once visited from outer space? Did alien beings walk our planet? A major NASA engineer, I'm not sure if that's true, if he was major, reveals some astonishing facts. So this is his depiction of what it could have looked like, which looks nothing like the description you read from Ezekiel to me. But he was trying to speculate on what the engineering would look like
If it
you were to
fit
build this.
Ezekiel's chariot.
Right.
He has no
Right.
wheels. He's missing the wheels.
He's totally missing wheels. So I threw that in there to show the atmosphere, okay, that was in popular culture that was going on at the time. So 1972, our last lunar landing. 1974, this book comes out. Hey, everybody, get excited about this now. Nobody's excited about a lunar landing. We've done that before.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Now, look, hey, maybe we've been visited by aliens before. Maybe, just maybe we have. You should think about that. So I did, and I thought, what was going on in Hollywood at the time?
All right.
What was
What's going on in
NASA
Hollywood?
at the time?
Here's the space shuttle.
1976 rollout, the very first prototype space shuttle, working shuttle. It was a new program, and this was. It occurred to me I had to explain this to my son because he was very, very young when the shuttle program ended. When I was a freshman in high school, it had its first flight. It was the Enterprise. That was in 1981. But 1976 is when they had their working prototype and they rolled it out. And I think I've actually been at this place in California. I went there on a field trip when I was a kid in 1979 and saw where they were making them, where they were making the tiles. But
well, this
so, yeah.
is what when I was doing my school report in 1977 on manned space, because I was I think this was before or after Star Wars came out, and I'd been to the museum and I was just fast. I was going to be an astronaut, right? And this is actually I know astronauts, right? Because it wasn't a completely, I mean, it's completely insane idea if you know me, but it wasn't a completely insane idea for me to think that I could possibly do it because one of my classmates from college is.
Oh, cool.
She's part of the program, or she's been part of the program in Houston, and the graduate student in physics who tutored us in our college, he was like friends with us in the college gym. I saw him on a Nova television show in one of the.
Oh, cool.
And I wrote to him and said, I remember when you taught us physics. This is great.
Oh, that's fun.
Okay, so it wasn't out of this world. It's just out of my life, my capacity to deal with, like, I don't know, heights or anything like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But in 1976, 77, when I did the report, we had to write off to different, this was before the internet, guys. What you had to do was write letters. And the only place I could write for manned space exploration was NASA. So I wrote to like 4 or 5 of the different stations of the different centers, and they all sent me back like pictures and brochures and things like that on the shuttle. It was a big deal. The launch was a big deal in the 70s. They did a lot of promotion on it. Yeah.
They did a lot of promotion on it, and it started here in 1976.
Okay, so your general argument here is we've lost interest in the moon because some people really thought we went there, and and
some people believe in elves.
Oh, yeah, well, they say they make fun of us for believing in angels. Come on, and so is the hype that's being built up around the shuttle was they were trying to do this idea that you could use a renewable. Reusable craft,
right? And which is what Elon Musk is doing right now, right? And it's that was an incredible thing to see when I first saw it in 2010. The thing re-entered, and was that when they caught it, or later when they caught it with the chopsticks when it landed?
That's one of Musk's rockets, right?
Yes, that's one of Musk's rockets. But so the big deal about the space shuttle, of course, for anybody who listening who's younger, is that it was reusable, right? Because the rockets that went up before, they just fell down. The crafts just fell down, and you couldn't reuse them. It was a lot of waste, and
I mean, all of that Hollywood pretense they'd been anywhere.
Well, you're gonna really like the next slide.
Oh, right. Yes. When the crew of the Enterprise is there watching
the crew of the other Enterprise was there at the rollout of the Enterprise.
Come on, the internet would say this is proof that it's all fake. Come on.
It would, right?
It's Galaxy Quest, only with the other cast.
Yeah, I noticed that. I thought of Galaxy Quest too, because Shatner wasn't there. He wasn't in this picture. But you've got Dr. Spock, you've got Uhura and Sulu, and Gene Roddenberry's there, the guy in the tall guy in the brown suit, and then you got Dr. McCoy, and yes, they're trying to get people interested again. But what were they trying to get them interested in? They were trying to get them interested in meeting people from other planets, and so.
Okay, the boundaries of what you believe in, what you, Kimberly, believe in, what you don't, are interesting. So which are we saying there? Some of these things are, and I'm sorry, I've gotten too giddy teasing you, and I've had too many too many shots every time we say UFOs. They don't exist, all right, but.
Well, they do exist if you understand that all it means is it's unidentified. It doesn't mean it's from outer space. It never did. It just means it's unidentified.
Well, it just means they're covering up reports on their stealth planes.
They're covering something. Exactly. They were covering stuff up. But now think about the 1972 book that came out from the engineer saying, this is what have we been visited before by aliens, right? And then, 2 years later, there's I hope I didn't put these out of order. Let me take a look for a second. I'll go back. There's the space shuttle. Yeah, the spaceships of Ezekiel, that was 1974. And
right, that was before this. That 74 is before the shuttle, for sure.
Right. So 1976 is the shuttle rollout, and they bring in a cast of not a historical documentary, cast of Star Trek.
But why would they fold the fake in with the real?
Because they're trying to get people interested in this idea. They're trying to associate, in my opinion, this fictional account of people, going to other planets and meeting aliens, with their current program of having this reusable space shuttle, right? Which was still really expensive. right? But they wanted to keep people interested and keep them putting money into this program, and keep, stop them from petitioning the congressman to stop spending money on this program.
Mm.
They needed to keep the interest going, right? The Red Scare wasn't doing it. By the 1970s, the Soviet Union was already starting to fail. So they needed something else.
But why did
And
they need it? Right? This is what's so funny about it. So one of the interests, because why do they need it? Because the space shuttle, I mean, one of the complaints that people often have about NASA is it's so expensive and doesn't do anything. It's like, but and then the scientists always say, no, 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 it's actually really important. Why are they putting money into stuff that's not more obviously useful? I don't know. What am I thinking now? It's like we have to have all this hype. Why do they need the shuttle program? I mean, the moon landing. What's interesting about the moon landing program was solely on the back of patriotism, right?
Mhm.
Which is why it's hard for some of you to give up on the idea that we actually did it. It's
Okay, she's on her own here, everybody. I totally believe we were at the moon, and we'll be there again soon. But anyway, go.
that
I don't.
no, but I mean, I'm just performing the problem, right? It's the moon landing. I remember my dad was having to be disciplined about me because I was interrupting his ability to watch the moon landing. This is a resonant. When you might have been 5 when it
Oh,
last happened, I was 4 when it happened, and my dad was so mad that the kids had gotten in a fight out in the backyard because we
oh
didn't
no.
have a television, so we had to go to a friend's house, little bitty
Oh,
screen, right? So that he could watch it because he was a pilot. He was going to be in the air, he's in Air Force. His dad was a
yeah.
2-star general in the Air Force. Like we were flight people. And the moon, as far as I'm concerned, the interest in going to the moon didn't need extra stuff. It was enough of itself.
You would think so, but
Right.
other people might have disagreed, right? And so, which brings me back to the crew of the Enterprise, the Star
Right.
Trek Enterprise. That was to help people regain interest. I don't think it did necessarily. I mean, it might have for some geeks that you know wanted to keep funding this, but
I
yeah, they brought.
This is
Hmm?
interesting. John says, recall that the first shuttle was originally Constitution. The change to Enterprise was due to demand from fans.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, see, it worked, didn't it? It
Okay,
worked.
okay, you win.
Okay.
Well, but I
Yeah.
mean, it is interesting. It's like people will pay lots and lots of money to go see shows, pretend stuff,
Yeah.
but you need the pretend stuff to get people interested in the real thing, which is
Mhm.
always a little funny. It's like, it's the
Right,
real
and
thing.
you gotta
How
understand.
real is the real thing if you can't show them stuff that actually is
Okay, from the perspective of the engineers building this stuff,
okay?
they know that the general public doesn't understand how long these things take, how long it takes technology to actually catch up and get to where they want to go,
They should
right?
just talk to all
So,
those aliens that are whizzing around all the
yeah, tell us how you did it, bro. Do us a favor. Yeah, I it's my husband is endlessly patient with me. He's really not. When I ask these questions.
time. See in the room. It's
No, he's not. But
is
yeah,
the alien in the room
he
with you right now?
I am married. Pity me. I am married to an engineer, and whenever a sci-fi show comes on, he's a huge sci-fi fan, and I like it as well. But whenever something shows like ships with like in Star Trek with artificial gravity, they're living in the lap of luxuries. Like, no, that's not going to happen. It's not feasible. It's not technically possible at this point. But I'm just using that as an example because that's the kind of thing that gets people interested. Can we really travel like that? An engineer will tell you absolutely not,
Mm-hmm.
right? But in order to get money to
Mm.
fund projects that will eventually maybe in I don't know 100 years get you to something like that, you have to keep growing the technology, which means you have to keep putting money into it. So the engineers can see this, the politicians who are on their side can see this, and they try to get money for it.
I'm sorry.
Bring
You
in the
should
crew of
just
Star
you
Trek.
should just ask all those aliens. So I mean, come on. They have all the
Yeah.
tech. Isn't the government hiding the tech from us so that, we
Yes,
don't
they are
realize
hiding tech, but it's
that
not
the
alien
that
tech.
the tech. Oh, okay. Here now we have the high frontier, human colonies in space. by
All
Gerard
right.
O'Neill.
1976. So this is originally I was trying to find a because of the wheels within wheels, going back to the Ezekiel inspiration for a lot
Oh,
of science
we got
fiction.
Wheels and with Wheels next. Here we go. Here's the
Yeah,
picture of the wheels within wheels.
right. So that's also O'Neill. That's from his book. Those are the illustrations. He had theories about how to create artificial atmospheres and artificial gravity. And it had to do with it had to be a wheel, right? Because you had to replicate gravity in order to do this, and you had to replicate atmospheres that people could colonize space in these cylindrical pods, right? And this was I first learned about this by watching the movie Interstellar, because at the end of the movie they show where they had figured out how to create this mathematically. They figured out how to do it. And so they had these fantastic, enormous cylinders like this that had whole landscapes in them, and farms and cities and rivers and everything. But it came from, O'Neill's 1976 book. This is important because, as I said, they're trying to get people interested
Mm.
in, they're trying to get the wider culture interested in the idea that maybe we can colonize space. So you have speculative books like this coming out. And well, the speculative fiction had already been produced. Star Trek had been produced. It's interesting that was 1976. Star Trek got canceled after 3 years. My father's still angry about that.
Hey,
He's like, "A bunch of people in the
Firefly got
Midwest were
canceled
like, "Who
after
cares?"
one, right? And
Yeah,
it was way
he said-
better.
Yeah, he said a bunch of people in the Midwest didn't like it, so it gets canceled. What do they know? My father it still is a huge space fan. But yeah, he liked that. So it had a second life, obviously, in syndication. So, because I remember watching it in the late 70s after school, and I became a huge fan of Star Trek. A lot of other people were too, which is why they came there. So back to O'Neill's book, it comes out in the same year as the rollout of the Enterprise. And it has some really cool artwork in it that makes it into later films in the 2000 aughts.
I'm
And
just
other
saying.
films
I mean,
came out
like,
that year.
are you saying that the AI hype is like because they don't actually have the ability to do any of the cool things they can?
The idea behind the AI hype is that it's a collective mind, and they're hoping that more breakthroughs can happen faster because of it.
To what end?
We don't know yet, but according to Elon and Mr. O'Neill, space colonization is on the menu, boys.
So, according to John Abrisi, you need to watch a movie called The Dish about the TV broadcast of the moon landing. And I don't know to whom he's directing this, whether it's you or me.
Yeah, who's the ha? Who's the ha for?
Right, who's the ha for here? So what's funny about this is like, okay, so what we're seeing is at this point, this is like only 20 years worth of speculative fiction with like completely fantastical things, because the tech is not nearly what we can imagine. Although I'm right now I'm spending a lot of time with the Harry Potter audiobooks, and it is quite wild. Most of the magic in there is now our tech.
I know.
We can't apparate yet, but certainly all
they could in Star Trek,
the moving portraits and things like that. So perhaps we have nothing to worry about from the AI because it's all at this level of nonsensical hype, and in fact it's going to go much slower than it is, or which is it? I mean, I'm actually mainly thing I'm scared about the AI stuff, which is behind a lot of the we need the AI to get to the moon. Why do we need to go to the moon?
Because they want to go further into space, and like I said,
why?
Why did anybody want to cross the ocean? That's what we do.
Spices, drugs. How many drugs are there on the moon?
It wasn't always spice, not for everybody. That was what caused people to want to fund it. They were going to get money back.
It was drugs.
Now,
I will fight you on the moon. Maybe I don't know, but
which planet
they
is it
want
that
drugs.
actually rains diamonds?
What?
Which planet is it that actually rains diamonds?
Ooh, that's a
It's
good
one of the
one.
gas giants. It actually rains
It
diamonds.
rains like Saturn. Does it rain diamonds on Saturn?
I think it might be Saturn. Yeah.
From
Because
the
of the
it would be from the rings, right?
from it because of the pressure. Yeah. I don't know. Why would anybody want to go there?
Okay, like human curiosity, I grant you, but most of the time it's drugs. There's
There
all
has
no,
to be there has to be a
there's
financial incentive.
it's drugs, slaves. It's never different. Like not we're writing.
Yeah.
Look, guys, we know this. We've researched it, right? It's always drugs. It's some. I mean, like we started with a drug trip with Ezekiel. Okay, look at the colors, man.
hmm
I'm gonna go on to the next because I've stalled it. All right, Close Encounters.
Look at the colors, man.
I love this movie. I could use
Yeah, look at the
the
colors and the
5 note
lights.
thing, the model of Devil's Tower. My dad
Yeah, they
lived in
built this really
Wyoming
cool.
about the time this came out, so I got to go. We never got to go to Devil's Tower. It's very sad.
The lights,
Oh,
the colors,
okay.
the spinning wheels.
Sarah
It
says
looks
it's the tech bros religion that humanity's right to live forever in space. Back to the scientist reason and out of the silent planet. Okay.
I don't know how you're going to live forever just because you're in space. I don't understand that. I know Elon keeps talking about consciousness must continue. I'm like, well, it does. The human soul doesn't die. But he's not ready for that conversation yet.
Well, I always this goes back to what we were talking about our last stream. It's like the main thing that people seem to end up with is no time, right? What they want is to escape time. It's traveling in
Yes.
space, but what they want the tech bros religion is like eternity in an instant. And all the serious historical problem I have with all of this, as we've been talking about, is like they're projecting tech that they're in fact protecting from the general public's knowledge while pretending that they have greater tech. But the end result is always, oh, now, right? Everything is now. Like the all of the horizon that we're constantly looking at is I'm going to be like live forever in whatever it is right now. It just seems short-sighted to me in terms of one, the longevity of the machines that they've ever made. How old is the oldest computer, Mr. I'm going to upload my consciousness into the cloud? Oh, right, you're going to be obsolete in a decade. I mean, seriously.
Can you imagine having a subscription to your own life?
Back when Close Encounters of the Third Kind came out, and when did it come out? You have the date, right? 81?
1976.
Close Encounters? No.
Sorry, 1977. Close Encounters of the Third Kind came out in 1977.
No way. The same year as Star Wars?
Yes. Star Wars blew it out of the water when it came to money, but Close Encounters of the Third Kind came out very late in the year. It still did really well.
Interesting.
But
in my mind, they're
obviously not like Star Wars.
They're separate.
They were. I mean, because I think Star Wars came out early, like in January or February, and then Close Encounters came out after the summer, I think.
Okay. All right. So what were you thinking about including that in our story here?
Well, it's all about meeting friendly aliens like the people of Star Trek Enterprise did.
Okay.
So it's the same theme, the Red Scare / the alien scare is gone. We still need money. We're not going to the moon anymore, but we got this shuttle program. We want to actually keep going back, but it's really expensive. Okay, let's push the alien narrative, but friendly aliens. We want people to want to go. We want people to want us to keep going back and forth, like you can with the shuttle. Okay, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The aliens are friendly, right?
Right.
Also, it looks like an Ezekiel wheel.
They all do.
Wheels within wheels.
They all do.
Right. They travel, and they show this in the movie. They travel multi-directionally and lightning fast.
Mm-hmm.
And they speak in light and tones and music, very loud music like the voice of God to Moses at one point, right?
Yes.
Right. If you're in the theater, it's really impressive, that Dolby sound. Right.
Sarah is upset with me. She said, "Rachel, how dare you use common sense in dealing with these people?" Well, I don't know. They claim to be
Wait a minute, am I these
geniuses.
people?
No. She means the
Okay.
the Elon and the tech bros and the ones that make no
Yeah.
sense when they say, "Yes, we are going to, with tech that's available now, create eternity." I mean, good luck with that. Right? Oh, and it's going to get better
Yeah.
tomorrow. It's going to continue to increasingly get better. And so 10 years from now, when you die and upload yourself into consciousness, you will be obsolete in a decade after that, or 3 years, depending on like how fast the tech changes. It's so dumb.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm going to upload my consciousness so somebody can overwrite me because they need more space.
Oh, we ran out of water in the desert. Okay,
I
so
really wanted to watch this movie anyway.
it's like, oh. Now we have President Obama signs new vision for U.S. space exploration into law. You know how big space is? How long ago did we send those, Voyager? I did like the Star Trek Voyager when they end up having to talk to the
first one.
probe when it's come back. Yes,
Yeah.
I've seen the world.
That was fun. It was because it was very topical because I think did it leave or they just launched it, right? I think in 1979 when that movie came out.
Voyager. What's this Voyager with the plaque?
That's another good example.
The people on it. So the space is space. There's a lot of it.
There's a lot of it.
Distance. Right. It's mainly distance and time. A lot of time. I mean, getting to Mars, probably it's like it took Voyager like decades to get to
Voyager.
It
you really did like that movie.
I think it was the probe. It was exiting the solar system not that long ago, and it launched in the 70s.
It was longer than you think. I think it
like
left
a decade
the solar
ago.
system. No, it was longer than a decade ago. I'm sure of it. It must have been like 20 years ago.
I remember hearing a podcast, or maybe it was just a radio show, talking about whatever energy it went through, and the transmissions they got back from it were very interesting as it passed through this energy envelope in the solar system of the solar system.
Look that up. That sounds cool.
Yeah. It did sound cool. It was cool to listen to them talk about it, but it's a really long way away. Just the solar system.
It's a very, very long way away. I actually get freaked out whenever I see pictures of like from even from the moon, and they're showing pictures from the moon looking back at Earth. I'm like, I would die of fright if I thought I was that far away from my home, like I could never get back.
Right.
That's very scary to me. I don't understand how people want to volunteer for things like this, but I know they do because they talk about it all the time. Oh yeah, I'd go. I'd totally go. I'm like, no. I have no interest in going into deep space or into near space. I have just no interest in that. But a lot of people are because they want to be a discoverer.
Well, so this is the innocent version of things, right? That people were curious, and we like. I mean, we've wandered all over this planet. I mean, actually, we've wandered all over it for a long time. It's like there's the whole point about the European voyages of discoveries that kept finding other people.
Yes.
Oh, really? You're already out there in the middle of the Pacific on these islands, and how did you get? I did like Moana.
Moana.
Yeah, that's a fun when they're on those big. Okay, my husband is with these proa ships, right? With the catamarans, yeah, and they're sailing. It's the music sailing out there. There were people on all of those islands before any of the Europeans showed up.
Yeah, but it's funny. The Hawaiians got there kind of late. I think 16th century. But yeah, they've been discovering and landing on these islands from Southeast Asia for a very long time.
Right. People like this. We human beings are curious. Okay.
They're adventurers.
Yes, and we like wandering around and finding stuff.
Walkabout. Yes.
Yes.
We're on a constant walkabout. So 2010 was the very last authorization for a shuttle mission. Obama killed the shuttle mission and said he wanted to, how does it say here? Major NASA act today turns this vision for U.S. space exploration of asteroids and Mars into law. Now that's interesting because Sarah just brought that up about the asteroids.
Mm-hmm.
There were two big asteroid movies, but those came out in the late '90s. But 2010, the space shuttle ended. The space shuttle program ended. But SpaceX was actually formed in 2002. So it was already rapidly turning private. Well, private, quasi-private. Musk, I think, and got a lot of subsidies for some of his programs. Don't ask me which ones. I
I've heard
couldn't
he's
tell
gotten
you.
a lot of subsidies.
Yeah,
It's like
but
pseudo government at that by this point.
well, it's not a bad idea from a standpoint of value for money because the government can't do anything well or cheaply like a private company can. So there's they can do it better. They
Right.
just can. So it's not a terrible idea. So, but
Okay.
2010, he signs that.
John Myers says, according to Wikipedia, Voyager 1 crossed the heliopause and entered interstellar space on August 25th, 2012.
Oh, okay. So it was a little later than I thought. Okay. Yeah,
It took a long time to get there.
it
And
did.
that's just,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's, yeah. So I guess maybe 30 years. That's not so bad.
30 years, and it was not going fast. So, but we can't go that fast either
Right.
yet.
Okay, so we're still. What's interesting about this is the premise I've seen on why Trump is saying that they're going to start releasing the stuff about the UFOs and the UAPs is because the Pentagon or somebody wants to keep the money flowing. But you've just suggested with the Musk stuff, they don't need to. They can give it to Musk and these guys. And
Oh, well, they're developing it, and they developed reusable rockets.
mm-hmm. Right, he
And
has. So
yes,
why do we have? I get why you want. It's like they've stolen so much money from us right now. Why play all these shenanigans with UFOs? Why don't you just say we're taking your money and giving it to people that you don't like? Because they do it all the time.
that's true.
Like,
Yeah,
why do they have to
do it all the
pretend
time.
any of this? Because there's all sorts of other ways. Never mind that we're not even talking about the other things that are being distracted from. The level of sneakiness in this feels overdone for something so banal as stealing from the American people.
I honestly think there's nothing to tell, and you'll see why in a few
Okay.
frames.
All right, here we go. Here's is this a
This is the Dragon. This is one of
this
Musk's
is Musk dragons. Okay.
I'm not sure what is a craft. I think it
Okay.
launches the Dragon launches satellites. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. But yeah, it was launched with the Falcon Heavy, which were the rockets that were the reusable rockets.
Okay.
But yeah, that was in
Okay.
2010, just as the space shuttle's ending, and it's clear SpaceX has already
From the
taken
shuttle.
the
From the space
baton.
shuttle.
It took
Okay.
it a while ago. So
we've had
Right.
the moon landing,
right. So that's just
the space shuttle, and now
the
SpaceX,
space shuttle,
the
and
reusable
now
rockets.
reusable
Right.
rockets.
But the
Right.
nefariousness of all of this is still escaping me, other than lying to us about whether or not they're UFOs.
It's not lying. It's a slow drip. Again, UFO just means unidentified. That's it. It doesn't mean it's from space. I never thought it was. I always thought it was our own tests being done. I always thought
But why
it's
not just
like,
say
no,
we're testing cool stuff? Don't
because
worry.
it was top secret. Because it was top secret.
From who?
It was the U2 program was top secret from the 1950s to the 1970s, like 54 to 74. This was the U2 program, and they were keeping it very secret. And they had to do test flights. People were going to see it. So
they do they do test flights over the United States and lie to the American people. Because they could do test flights other places.
Where?
I don't know. There's a lot of the world that's not the United States.
You can control your airspace over the United States. You can't control it over the Pacific.
That's why we need Greenland, isn't it?
We need Greenland. That's another discussion we can have some other time.
Okay, so they're doing the test flights over the United States because they can lie to us. And then telling
Well, they
us,
weren't lying. They just didn't identify it. Where's the lie?
well, they're
It's Area
pretending they don't
51.
know. Okay, what's
It's
Area
top
51?
secret.
What's Area
It's
51?
okay. Area 51 is. Do I have a picture of that?
I don't think so.
No, I don't.
No, we have
No, I
we
don't.
have Stephen Hawking claiming that it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah. So I want to just address Area 51 really quickly. I thought
Okay.
everybody knew, but
Well, no, we're
Area
providing a history lesson here
51 is
for all of those who are not Gen X.
yeah. Area 50. Area 51 is just an area that is a secure area in the Nevada desert that is controlled by
Where
the
the
US
alien
military.
bodies are. I've seen Hangar 18.
And they wouldn't tell anybody why. Yeah, that's right.
They
I forgot
showed
about
them in
one
that
too.
one.
Yeah, that was a whole bunch of
the
things like
alien
that.
the alien
Yeah.
astronauts.
I saw
they're
something
shown in Hangar 18. That's a documentary, don't you know?
that this look the 1950s and the alien craze and the UFO craze could be a multi-part series for us. I did not include this information because I didn't look it up. I just saw it on somebody else's talk show. It was about and they just mentioned that the alien bodies that were found were actually human beings who had been surgically altered to appear alien, and then killed, and then they surgically altered the bodies to make them look like that. And this had been proven, and they thought it had been a Soviet program, a misinformation
We
program.
haven't. Yes, we didn't even
But
consider
I
that. How
don't
our
know.
enemies or our rivals or our fellow deceivers are playing the game too.
Well, of course they were. That's why you have a top secret airspace. That's why you shoot anything down that tries to go over it when you are testing, spy weapons that you want to use to spy on your enemies. You don't want your enemy having that information. And no, you can't trust the general public with this knowledge. I have no problem with certain things being top secret. Did they lie of omission? Yes. It's an unidentified flying object. We're not saying what it is. Hollywood comes around and says, maybe it's aliens. And everybody goes, oh, aliens. Yes, I was abducted by those, right? And then this hysteria follows. And then the textbooks are written to say it was the Red Scare. No, it wasn't. Shut up. Anyway, it was all spy crap. But yeah, that's what Area 51 is. It was where they were conducting flight tests for experimental aircraft, specifically the U-2.
These must be pretty cool planes. If they can deceive everybody into thinking they're like flying saucers.
Well, just it's an Ezekiel wheel, right? And there were flying saucers put in these movies. Look ridiculous. You can.
Well, no, I mean the real planes that you say there really are real planes that.
The U-2 is a real plane. That's not a secret anymore. It hasn't been for a very long time.
Right. But so we have other secret planes? You say we have other secret planes now?
I'm sure we do. Why wouldn't we? Why would they stop R&D ever?
Fair. But wouldn't we figure this out eventually, the public?
You would think, but no, they just keep disappointing me. I mean, come on, people. Use
come
your
on.
heads. Yeah, really, use your heads. Come on. It's okay to be skeptical.
But we are. I am. It's like you're going to feed me yet again that there's UFOs, or so Trump is going to release what then? Do you think
it's going to be a big nothing? But he's going to release it at the right time.
And it's a big nothing to distract us from the fact that, oh my gosh, the United States government is developing sophisticated spy technology.
It's not just the United States.
Of course we're developing sophisticated spy technology. Isn't that our whole point? Haven't you seen the James Bond movies? Right.
We captured alien aircraft. Yes, we did. Now define the word alien. It's kind of in the news lately, and it doesn't mean from outer space. It means from another country. They're not lying.
Nobody has as good planes as we do. Come on. If they're not our planes, they're from outer space.
Well, then how come a lot of our scientists came from Germany and probably Russia and Poland? Does that mean they don't? I mean, we took all of their scientists, all the good ones. They had none left. They built nothing after we took all their scientists, right?
Oh,
does that sound plausible?
You mean the H-1B program is actually a military recruitment plan to suck all the cool stuff out of other people's populations?
No,
Oh,
No,
rat.
not H-1B.
Oh,
No,
okay, never
sorry.
mind. Gravity.
No.
We have gravity here.
Oh, can we go back to the
Oh,
Hawkins
Hawkins.
one?
Okay, go back to
Yeah.
Hawkins. Okay.
So 2010 quote, just as Obama's signing the NASA Appropriations Act, well, the Appropriations Act and the NASA portion of the Appropriations Act, which got rid of the shuttle program and said we want to do more space exploration. And now Stephen Hawking, who was, this is 2010. So I'm trying to think I think a book had come out. He was being interviewed by it. And this was a quote from him. He did not like the idea of calling attention to ourselves. Say, if aliens visit us, the outcome would be much as when Columbus landed. In other words, they would obviously strip mine us for our resources, right?
He's
a lot
right.
of Hollywood.
It's like if
lot
they
of Hollywood
actually
movies said
showed
that.
up, they would just do. I mean, it's like if they actually managed to get here, that's why I say
No.
the stealth is silly. They're not
No,
going
I
to
don't think
sneak
it is.
around.
No, as a theory, okay, I think Hawking was wrong about this
Oh,
because if
okay.
you have superior technology, that also means you have to have the materials to go with it, and it wouldn't be something we had on our planet. So what would they need?
Slaves.
Or do they have a
Drugs.
shortage of
Slaves.
salt water?
Drugs.
Mars
Slaves.
needs women. That was another movie in the, I think it was the early 60s. So ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway,
yes, I
don't
mean,
know
why would they show up here? Why don't they just stop on Mars? If we want to get to Mars because it clearly is full of great stuff, so why would the aliens come all the way to Earth unless they need water?
Yeah, salt water. Yeah, I don't. Why would he make the statement? I don't know. Why would somebody make the movie about Mars attacking? In the early 1950s, just in 1952, Red Mars, just as as von Braun's book is coming out about the Mars project. Why? They seem contradictory. Well, I mean, all news is good advertising, right? Even if it's bad. Just what they said, just right. It's still generating interest in the topic. In other words, it doesn't matter that Hawking said this. People are still going to say, yeah, cool, let's go meet aliens. I'm sure he's wrong,
Right.
It doesn't matter because it still makes it part of the conversation. It makes it very public. So that's still going on.
So they're two the art. So it is true that storytellers can be. So I back in the 70s and 80s, I read lots more science fiction than I do now. Although I mean, I read Omni. Did you subscribe to Omni magazine? I had it from the.
I remember Omni magazine.
I had it from the very beginning, and I think fortunately in my clearing out of things, I only kept some of the issues, but I have some of the actual original 80s run. My mom thought I would be interested in it.
Oh, cool.
That the artists, like we can be picking up with stuff in our poetry writing, can be picking up on the same kind of ideas and inventions that the designers and tech guys actually are at the same time. So it's not absolutely necessary that all of this is related. Like
No,
that
it isn't.
everything in Hollywood is funded by the tech guys to distract from their war machines.
No, not all of it. Although there have been some, there have been some amazing coincidences. Right? I think what was the phrase that people liked using? I can't think of it right now, but basically, you're trying to form people's opinions years before the event you've planned.
Preconditioning.
Something about conditioning. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. There is a phrase that they use for it.
But I can't remember what the phrase is. But yeah, there's other examples about the pandemic where that happened, where they were obviously getting people ready for something like this, putting it in the public consciousness so that they wouldn't be surprised by it and they would act. Hopefully, they hoped the way they wanted people to act, right? So I see the same. I can see the same thing with the types of sci-fi movies that are coming out at the time that NASA and now SpaceX. I'm sorry, Blue Origin's a joke. So NASA and SpaceX are trying to get people interested in an actual moon base and in a trip to Mars,
right?
To actually make this happen. That the movies, that the popular culture is matching this, not just because they're picking up on it necessarily, but because it's being directed.
Oh yeah, I mean, the problem is all of these things can be true. Um, the
Yeah, they can both be true.
the directing,
Yeah.
so the pandemic stuff was that. I mean, looking back on it, that's so malicious.
Yeah, it
It's like
was
they knew
malicious.
that they were setting people up to believe in this kind of outbreak.
Hmm.
Um, so John Myers is saying they just need more protein, Soylent Green. So this, I mean, this is the premise. Is like usually the
Soylent
aliens are going to
bugs.
show up and harvest us, right?
Oh, yeah. How to
Sorry
Serve
if
Man. You
if
ever
they
remember that
actually
from the
are
Twilight
any.
Zone?
Yes, if they're actually any good at like harvesting bio stuff, they'll just scoop it out of the oceans.
Yeah.
All the algae is what keeps us
That's
alive.
that's where the Soylent Green was supposed to come from.
Yeah. Oh no,
It's
it's
from the
people.
ocean.
It's spycraft and Red Scare seem to go hand in hand. Yeah. I mean, that's the
Hmm.
okay. So you have gravity here.
So 2013. So 3 years
Mm,
later, the movie Gravity comes out, and it's about a spacewalk gone wrong, right?
right.
But essentially, it's about space exploration, like near space exploration. It was an interesting movie. It was way too long, but it
I
just showed a
actually
lot.
enjoyed it.
Did you?
Yeah, because it was realistic in the sense of like it's not whizzing around. It's you'll die if you get outside of your
Yeah,
craft.
yeah. It was an interesting movie, but I did think it was just way too long. The
Mm,
most interesting part about it was how they interacted with the technology.
hmm
I think maybe that was the point. Again, just as they're, changing NASA's appropriations, just as SpaceX is coming up with reusable aircraft, let's generate some interest in being in space, just being there,
Yeah,
right?
that's all Bullock does.
Exploring certain,
She
right?
bees in space.
Yeah, exploring sections of it, exploring the technology and how do you use it and how do you problem solve, right? Let's put her in an extreme condition and, have her problem solve by herself.
So John Abrisi is pointing out quite practically, if we can colonize Mars, why come we can't live in the Sahara Desert? Duh. It's like there's a lot of Earth left. And
Yeah,
we don't see
because you need water.
we've got a lot of water
Yeah.
too. And,
But they have desalinization plants too, but I'm not sure how efficient they are.
and they're going to be able to do it on Mars?
No. Although I think they did find water underneath. They found ice. I think that's,
We've got a
yeah.
lot more water on Earth than there is on
I don't
Mars.
know.
And we've got
Didn't you see
land
Total
that's
Recall?
Philip K. Dick rules, right?
Yeah.
We've got land that we can't live on because it's been salted, or we can't desalinate the Fertile Crescent, for goodness sake. Why can we desalinate Mars? It just, I'm
Well,
sorry,
it's not.
it's like so
Well,
excruciatingly dumb.
it's ice. So I don't actually know what the ice is made of. I think, can they use mass spectrometry to figure that out? Maybe, I'm not sure.
Well, the guy who
Uh,
just died because he was shot in California was
all
was
right.
figuring out how to detect whether there was water on other planets. In fact, found some, but it didn't mention Mars. This
Mm,
was just for those of you who are not
yeah.
living on Telegram. May he rest in peace.
Yes.
Um,
Horrible.
right, and this, I mean, this sounded very odd. This was this morning we saw. I can look for it.
It's the second physicist to
Carl
be shot to death in a month.
Carl Grillmeyer, Caltech astrophysicist and research scientist, shot and killed at his home in California. At the time of his death, he was researching comets and asteroids hazardous to Earth, and he actually had figured out a way to tell whether there was water on planets. I mean, what I don't get is like, so the studies by people like Professor Grillmeyer are so modest in comparison with the Star Trek and space.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
most of it is endless well, one, struggling to get telescope time usually because it's really super expensive.
Mm.
Finding tiny little differences in this quadrant of the sky that you have made your own little close study. It's
Mhm.
not glamorous in the way that the movies make it.
Right. It's a bit like seeing Indiana Jones and thinking that's what archaeologists are like.
They
Instead
sweep
of they're just
they sweep
cleaning up pot shards with a toothbrush, for 20 years.
or historians that it takes decades to think something through because you have to like study and study and study and you're never quite sure where all the information is. I mean, this is where I am sympathetic with you is saying the engineers being frustrated with people saying, why is it taking you so long? It's like always, right?
Yeah.
Research takes a long time. And I do not believe that the AI is going to speed it up in the way people imagine. It just creates new kinds of problems that are then slow.
Maybe, but you'll get to those problems faster. I do understand the concept, right, of just getting to even the problems faster. So, even being told no is still an answer you can get to faster, and then you can eliminate that.
Yeah, but I think it's going to create more big problems. It's like the usual fantasy,
Maybe.
the usual fantasy that everybody always has is now I'm liberated. Sorry, no. Christ is
Mhm.
Christ is the only one that liberates you. The rest of it is your own power fantasy of
Yeah, I
not
don't see it
having
as
to work.
liberation.
It's
I
yeah.
just see it as a well, information gathering, problem solving. That doesn't mean there won't be new problems.
w-
Just
w-
means you get to them faster.
I see this is the speed fantasy is one we talked about this last time, I think. Fine, you have a whole library of books that didn't exist after printing. Now you have to read them all,
Mm.
right? That we
I can relate to that so hard.
right? So
Got a growing
now we
library.
have this internet that suddenly has all of this information in it. I do think it's helpful having the robots able to search it, right? Great big search engines. I do think it's great having, with the amount of data that we think we can collect, being able to
Mhm.
process it and but the I my when I'm not panicking and freaking out about how my job is being destroyed, I am thinking in fact, what's going to happen is we don't even know the scale of the difficulty that we're about to have to confront. I think the
Possibly.
fantasy that this is going to solve it's going to wipe out the easy problems for us and then we just get big ones. The
Hmm.
problems that it can solve for us right now, like Fox's exercise with evolution stuff, those are not the scale of problems that we're suddenly going to be able to have to think about. They're going to get
What do you
way
imagine?
bigger.
Give me an example what you imagine of a big problem that could come because of this.
Well, so a tiny example from my own work is thanks to the fact that they've digitized so many manuscripts. Back in the
Mhm.
day, when you couldn't get to them, like the only people that could work with all those manuscripts were the ones that could sit in the libraries for years and years and years, and they tended to be like the librarians, or
Mhm.
the only the people that lived in Oxford and Cambridge. It's like the actual regular people that didn't live in Oxford and Cambridge. This is why the sort of access to those collections was so precious.
Mm.
Um, you were completely dependent on what had been edited and printed. Well, now all of the libraries have been, spending the last 20 years digitizing all their manuscripts. When I prep for a class and I'm like in a research level and I'm thinking, or I'm writing something, right? I'm actually writing. So example, right? I'm writing about Francis um, and these were good things, but I'm writing about Francis and I say, okay, can I see the manuscript that this prayer book comes from? I can't rely just on the edited edition of it. Now I have to think, oh, is the manuscript out there? Oh, I need to go look at the manuscript. Oh, have I, it's like because the stuff is now available, you have more work to do. If you
You
haven't,
also have to
if you haven't done it, all of those manuscripts are out there now. You personally, you can't rely on somebody else's catalog description. You have to go
No,
look.
you can't. Yeah, you can't actually rely on the digital either. I found that just today prepping with
Mm,
these slides. I said, okay, I wanted one of the original movie posters, an image of it for Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and
right.
so up pops this movie image. It's the wrong actors. I said, this isn't it.
See?
These actors were not in this movie. This is not the original poster. And so I actually left Grok and I just went to a Bing images search, gave me the Close Encounters of the Third Kind original movie poster, and I got a selection of them that I remember seeing with my own eyes. So you can't necessarily rely on those either.
And that's an excellent example. People are starting to talk about this, how the only way you're going to be able to trust the information that you see digitally or on the internet is because you have expertise in sifting what's fake from what's real. And you're going to be back where you started with being able to tell the difference between what counts as good evidence and what doesn't. I think practically in every single great media explosion we've had like this, there's been an immediate frisson of, oh great, we can do all of this stuff now, and then you get more work.
Right. Yeah. And that's something that we probably remember hearing from 30 years ago or more, that, computers were supposed to make our jobs easier, but they just created more work.
Yes, they're going to. It's going to be more work. And this is, say, AI, there will be a massive problem with verification. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And,
Yeah, you're
and
gonna have to see
Sarah's
the
saying
physical copies.
the obstacles to colonizing Mars are much vaster than most people realize. Yeah, I mean, Total Recall was at least, they have to go out and their eyes explode and stuff because the atmosphere
Yeah.
isn't up. But it's all sorts of other things. If we could live in the Sahara, we'd be more likely to be able to live on Mars. Europa Report.
This actually was not a bad movie. I did see that. It's one of the ones we watched because we're like sci-fi nuts in our house for movies. And so this is another movie, if you haven't seen it. Well, they go to Europa, one of the moons of, I forget which, is it Venus? One of the moons surrounding one of the
Jupiter isn't
planets.
Europa.
Jupiter.
Look in on the picture, it's Jupiter because that's the red planet, right? Isn't it? Okay, guys, look it up.
Anyway, they're on Europa, which is one of the moons of one of these planets, and they have an alien contact. It's not a friendly one. So,
oh, good. Do they eat them?
Yeah. Can I give away the end? Can I give away a spoiler?
Spoiler alert, everybody.
So this was otherwise a very good movie. I want to make the point of saying the alien is basically just a squid, which is vicious. Squid are vicious. They're vicious creatures.
Yeah.
They're cannibalistic. If you fall into a little of them, they will tear you apart like a piranha. So basically the alien in swimming under the ice on Europa is this big squid. All they called it an alien.
Was it an
a very
Earth
destructive
squid that
one.
had somehow traveled? The chat is saying Jupiter.
No,
It's
it was an
Jupiter.
alien. Okay, it's Jupiter. So no, it was native to Europa, right? So their first contact with an alien creature was a monster. It was like a sea monster almost. But included this here because like gravity, it just shows people interacting, exploring space, and things go wrong, right? Things go wrong, but they're still exploring, and neither one of them is unhappy that none of these people are unhappy that they went and explored, despite the fact that it didn't turn out the way they wanted to. I think a whole bunch of, if not all of them, get killed on Europa Report, all but one or two maybe. But and then of course Sandra Bullock survives barely, doing a very, very implausible
in Gravity.
plan
Yeah.
of escape. Yeah. Yeah.
The Martian is fun. I thought that one was really well done. The one with what's his name? Andy Weir's book.
Yeah,
Matt Damon. Yeah, the book is really good. Oh, the book is excellent. The book is excellent. And the movie's good too. Yeah.
So these came out around the same time, where they're trying to get people interested in space exploration. So there's nobody invading Earth, but we're out invading space and getting, attacked by inanimate objects. In Sandra Bullock's case, we're getting attacked by squid on Europa in this other movie's case. But the idea is that humans are out of our Earth's atmosphere and gravity, and they're exploring.
So we we now made it to the end, and you're gonna unveil the whole ta-da! Okay, what is it all about?
This is actually funny. Okay, so in 2013, got this from the National Security Archive. The Secret History of the U-2 and Area 51 was released.
So 2013, we finally get the backstory of all of this. Okay.
Yeah, August 15th, 2013, which is a feast day, I believe.
It's the Assumption of Our Lady, who, if you're going to do like SpaceX, space stuff, right? She's assumed taken up into heaven by Christ, her son, on August 15th.
And Assumed into heaven on August 15th, and on August 15th they said, "Guess what else was flying around in the heavens?"
That's
For 20
hilarious. They
years. It was the
say that
U2.
they did it on August 15th. I wonder if they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
Yeah, posted on well, it was posted on August 15th, right? So on the National Security Archive, as a result of a FOIA request, released information about the U2 program from 1952, I think, or 54 to 1974. And they said 50%. And then now the other things I've read surrounding this release of information in 2013 said that 50% of the UFO sightings were attributed to this. I'm like, and the other 50%? But anyway, what was interesting about this when I found it is, let's see, is it in this one or another document I was looking at about the release? It mentions that the stuff was already released in 1998. It was released by the CIA in 1998. Information about the YouTube program, and I went to click on the link, and it took me right to the CIA's website, and the information is no longer there. I got a message saying this information is no longer here. So for some reason they took it off their website. I have no idea why. Because it was 1998, right? And this is 2013 that this stuff was released. So this has already been released. This information about UFOs was already released. Oh, within 50% of the UFO sightings were due to this. And yes, we're actually testing aircraft. Well, duh. I mean, come on. Anybody can put two and two together and figure out that's what you were doing. It was guarded by the military. It still is. You're doing military testing of experimental aircraft, right? So why is he saying
today,
Trump
yes,
today saying I'm going to declassify all this information about UAPs and UFOs? Well, hasn't that already been done? I mean, what are you going to declassify that it was all a spy
well, they're
program?
new stuff, right? Are there new things? Oh, I see. You think he's just going to repeat this stuff?
It's possible he'll either repeat. I don't think he's going to repeat this stuff necessarily. It'll probably be included. He said all of it. That's part of it. But even if you see something new, it's just why would I not assume it was just more of the same? It was secret for a reason. You let people think it was UFOs. I don't care. It still just means unidentified flying
object. So they're not lying.
It doesn't mean it's from outer space.
Yeah.
They're not lying. They're not lying. You assumed it was UFO. Okay, maybe they convinced two guys to make a Hollywood movie in 1952, and they just kind of seeded ideas into people's heads in Hollywood to make all these other movies that had to do with space exploration or that had to do with alien contact, or had to do with, visiting other planets. Just at the time they were looking to spend money on these programs. But I'm sure it's all a coincidence.
Chat, what do you think? Seriously. So, it's Sarah. What I don't get is that the U2 is recognizable as a plane. So why would people have mistaken it for a saucer or any of the other UFO shapes?
Don't think they would have. I think they were experimenting with different craft. I don't think it succeeded. There's something called a flying wing that is a speculative design. It's a theoretical design that a plane can be nothing but a wing. So at certain angles, that actually it could be very disc-like at certain angles. I'm just taking a guess here. Having spoken to an aerospace engineer for the past 23 years or more.
Do you have special access?
There is. It's not special. That's the thing. It's not special. It's a theory. And, and my husband's like, well, that's bullshit. They're not going to make this flying wing, because the last time this was in the news was around 15 or so years ago. And Boeing announced they're going to make this flying wing. He's like, because they were in a race with Airbus, and it was over either the A380 or was it going to be the 787 that was going to win? Spoiler alert, the 787 won. The A380 was cancels of the program. It was too big for the existing airports around the world. There were very few that could take it. But that was just part of it. It was a part of this race. So they were kind of like dropping these little nuggets in the news, like, oh, we might be doing a flying wing, It could be anything. They experiment with different designs in aircraft all the time. Why wouldn't they?
Right. So what occurs to me is I have my students right now doing an exercise in which I've invited them to make conspiracy theories. After we're
That's
no,
fun.
we're doing the Industrial Revolution, and they have to do one. They're having to do all these things, handwritten diagrams, so that I get them practicing different kinds of cognitive design.
Cool.
And on one side they're doing like a conversation between the text that we've been reading, and on the other I'm like, okay, so tell me what you think it means, right? The conspiracy theory. And what's funny, okay, so the sad thing and what's funny about most conspiracy theories out there online is they're really pathetically slim as historical investigations. Sorry guys, I know you think you did a lot of research. They're
Yeah.
not, right? They're actually kind of cartoonish in their depth. Whereas the real stuff that we're doing actually in the field, and that's what you're talking about, the engineers, right? The actual engineering
Hmm.
that they're doing is really amazing and deep and complicated, and nobody
Yeah.
understands it when you try to explain it to them.
No. No, they
And
don't.
and so the cartoon version seems to people more real than the actual real design problem, which I find it's so sort of bemusing. I don't
Hmm.
even know what to do with that now, right? Because
Are
like,
you saying why do they find the actual designs less interesting than fiction?
yes, because
It's easier to wrap their head around fiction.
fiction is so, usually so thin when you actually look at it. It's like it's why in retrospect it's so hard to. I mean, Ursula Le Guin said this. It's why it's so hard to write good fantasy because you're having to make it all up yourself. And you
Ah,
just and you really can't. The richness of reality is so beyond our storytelling ability that,
you mean truth is stranger than
oh,
fiction?
indeed. Indeed it is. And so I can hear in your engineering acquaintances of frustration, that sense of like, but what
Yeah.
we're doing is actually as complicated as you imagine, but it's nobody would believe it because nobody does
Right.
believe what's actually difficult and thought through. Okay, the chat's coming alive. John Myers, whatever happened to the swamp gas excuse?
The swamp gas
I
excuse.
guess
Oh,
for
right.
what things happen. Uh, Sarah, the flying wing was when dropping the nukes on the Martians in War of the Worlds, wasn't it?
Um, well, no, actually, if you actually look up Boeing and flying wing, you might find an old newspaper clipping of it. Because I remember when it came out, the reason I asked my husband the question is because I'd seen they'd put a picture out there of it, of the concept. So it didn't look like the same thing like the world's one looked a little bit more like yeah, it was almost like a dome wing,
Mm.
like bird wings like this, whereas a flying wing is,
I'll go.
and
I'll
I
go. I'll
think
go
they had
back
to
to
look
the. I'll
more
go
like a
back to the
disc.
Ezekiel image here.
Okay.
The B-2 stealth bomber is about the closest we've gotten to useful flying wing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
the stealth is yeah, it's two identifiable wings, but yeah, pretty close.
Sarah's saying, but many of the UFO shapes are not capable of flight according to any known laws of aerodynamics. So even
Correct.
experimental version couldn't get off the ground. Oh, but
So there must have been
okay,
a lot of
she votes,
crashes.
however, she says, I think many of those types of sightings are likely supernatural in origin.
Ah, hmm.
Well, I mean, the thing is, if they are actually supernatural and angels, how is Trump going to tell it? How is the well? Actually, he's directed Hegseth, the war secretary, to start the releasing. Right? Are they? It's if they're supernatural, and the government has, I see. I just don't believe that it's these. If they're angels or supernatural, they're all just appearing to the American government. Forget that. That's dumb.
Same thing. Yeah, but the same thing goes for UFOs, right?
Right?
For
Why would they only
alien
appear
craft.
to the
Why are they only coming here? Because we're the best, right?
like the rest of the planet
We're
doesn't
number
get
one.
stuff. It's so apparently there's a bunch of
Yeah.
eclipses that are going to be happening over the next few years, and because they're happening over land, it's a big deal. But most
Oh,
eclipses
cool.
happen over the ocean because that's what
Hmm.
most of the planet is.
Correct. Yeah.
So most of everything is going to happen over the ocean if it's truly just random. But or I don't know. I'm still very skeptical about the aliens are us. That's it. There you
Yeah, no, the aliens are us, period. Yeah.
go. So, thank you. That was very thorough. The report. You all have the
You.
report now from KJ Crilly, author of Weird Poetry. Watch your shelves. It is coming. And we have done a better job debunking the debunkers than all the rest of you guys out there.
Maybe.
Any questions? I don't know. Not angels, but beings who want to sow confusion. Sarah says, I don't think Trump will release anything new. No, neither do we.
No, this is, yeah.
It's
in fact, he might have dumped it all today on a Friday, but I mean, no, he wouldn't dump it on a Friday. No, this is clearly to be used to distract from something else.
Well, this was just to wrap things up. This was my problem yesterday when I was like, I don't know what to talk about, because the instability of anything, right? Everything is so whatever Trump is doing, half of it's feints and half of it's distractions and misdirections and such like that. Okay, fine. Like, are we going to go to war? Who knows? Right? You've renamed the Defense Department the War Department. Great. Okay, does that mean we're not going to war? Because it's really a war. Who knows? I don't know. I do like the videos I've seen of Hegseth making the officers do push-ups, but I mean, like, what else are we gonna do? Shoot the non-existent UFOs down?
No,
I don't know. Anyway, well, that was great. I now feel confident that I was right.
About?
I don't know, just stuff.
I was right about what? Everything. Okay.
It's like we're used to being right about everything here on the Mosaic Ark because we watch the patterns out there and we're not going to be deceived by the nonsense. Thank you very much. Okay, guys. Let's see. It's like great. We've had a very lively chat tonight. Thank you very much, John and Sarah. And who else was here? Oh, Felix saying, don't worry, all the roundups will get the ETs. I'm not sure what that means. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining us. We will be here next week we have no idea because who knows what's going to happen in the next week. Bye, everyone.